Hi guys, welcome to Worth Living. My name is Kamu and
I'm Mercy. Worth Living. We're here.
It is Worth Living.
Today we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic that we touched in one of our episodes titled Finding a Common Ground During a Disagreement.
Yeah.
I remember it.
Yeah, one of our first episodes.
Yeah, one of our powerful first episodes.
And I love it. I think it has the most views.
Yeah, and it's so loaded, hey?
Yeah, it's loaded.
It's very loaded.
Everything we do is loaded. Of course, some are better than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was loaded. Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about certain factors that impede communication in a relationship or in marriage. So there are several factors that can affect the flow of communication in the relationship or in marriage or just any relationship with family, with friends and stuff like that. So today we're just going to be outlining those factors and just elaborating further. And as we usually say, we're talking about things that probably, maybe some but you're not aware of, until somebody tells you about something. That's when you say, oh yeah, you can move around without realizing that you are passing say maybe a certain sign, right? Until somebody tells you there's a sign there, and then you get shocked because you're passing every time there, but you can't see the sign. But until somebody says to you there is a sign.
Yeah, it's like when you're driving, you're more alert of what's happening around. I think someone was driving me recently, and they said there was a sign for 15 kilometers remaining. And I said to him, really? Was there a sign? Because I wasn't driving, I was sitting there on the passenger seat. So sometimes the things that you should be seeing, you can't see. Quite
right?
Obvious things. So, yeah, guys, a bit of context. So we often talk about how communication is important. I think a couple of people that I've asked recently, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the top 3 things they think are important in a relationship? Communication popped up a couple of times. The other one was around respect. So communication is quite important in any relationship: father, son, mother, son, husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, small house, everywhere.
Small house.
It's important. Even in a corporate setup, communication is very important because a lot of things break down. Companies lose money because of
poor communication.
So what are the 5 factors, my love?
Okay, we're gonna talk about the first one.
Yes.
Fear.
Fear.
Sometimes we cannot, or we are unable to communicate because we are scared of the reaction.
So the point talks about what? The fact that you are afraid to communicate a certain message.
Because you're scared of a reaction. So most of the time we're unable to communicate freely because we're thinking, how is she gonna react? Or probably she's gonna react badly, based on how things have been previously. And then you decide, I'm not gonna say it because I know she's gonna react this way. Or I don't know how she's gonna react, so you decide to keep it to yourself.
So it is a real issue. I think there's things that I've been, not afraid. I wasn't quite free.
Holding back.
I wasn't quite free to say them to you until a certain time, because of how you might react to something, or if I know that something is really, really important to you, and I don't know what to say, but or maybe you want something from me, and I want to say but I think for every relationship, the truth, still maintains that important role, which we need to look at every time. So how we deal with that, I think the important thing is that you need to find the right time to communicate. You need to find the right time to communicate that message, because the longer it takes, how would you feel if I tell you after 6 months that, hey, remember that money in January? I used it for this. So it's better the sooner the better you communicate that.
Because once you start fearing, that's where you start giving birth to dishonesty. That's where you start giving birth to pretending. That's where you start giving birth to a home or a family that is just full of lies, because you're doing things to satisfy the next person, but you're not honest.
Yeah, and you have to maintain those lies.
You can't keep up for long. You can't keep up for long.
No, what I mean is, because you lied the first time,
Yeah.
you have to remember that you lied.
That
next
you lied.
time and lie again.
And the reason why I'm
So
saying
that-
you can't keep for long is because, pretending is heavy. It's not something that you can keep on for the longest time. That is why you'll be seeing a lot of couples where they start telling you, I don't understand, but my husband is not showing a reaction that I'm expecting, right? Initially, you would have showed it like, I'm fine, it's okay, you understand? And then the next time you're not smiling and your other partner is wondering, but last time I did this, you were fine.
Yeah.
But today I'm doing this, you are like this, because you can't keep up anymore with pretending. Why? Because you were afraid. But that now hinders communication on your side and on the one that's receiving, right? So the whole thing causes a lot of confusion. So next time, because you've been fine, maybe let's say 3 times I've been doing the same thing and you have been fine, right? According to me. And yet you are not fine. You are scared of my reaction and you're not being honest with yourself. So next time you start showing I'm not fine with what you're doing, because sometimes you show it with body language, sometimes you show it with probably saying it out. And then I'm like, okay, like what's going on? I thought you had me. I thought we understood each other. I thought now the whole thing is causing a lot of drift. I'm thinking I communicated and I'm now blaming myself, and I'm thinking maybe I didn't put the words properly. Maybe you didn't quite hear me, but you were pretending the whole time due to fear. Yeah. So it's important to just say it, because you're never going to know the reaction until you say it.
Yeah.
So
don't be
let
afraid.
the reaction.
Don't be afraid to say it.
Yeah.
But I mean, fear it's a reality.
Yeah.
It's a virtual reality, because the reason I'm saying it's a virtual reality is, yes, it is a feeling that is there, right? But some books will tell you, and some studies will tell you that fear is the same as excitement. It's just an emotion that takes over your body. It doesn't mean it's just how we are designed, in our bodies, to be afraid when we see danger, or when we perceive danger, so that we can run or whatever action we can take. So we have to understand that you have to reason with fear. Why am I afraid? Give yourself reasons. Why am I afraid? What will happen? What are the consequences of me not being afraid, or me being afraid? And then actually deal with them, because it's just a feeling that you can overcome. Yeah.
And the more you overcome that particular fear of your partner's reaction, I think it's gonna be easy for you to time it. If I say something and my husband reacts in a way that I was expecting, the part where I was scared he's gonna react that way, and then you react that way, right? It's gonna give me a leeway next time to say, but love, the reason why now I decide to keep quiet or to
Because of what
pretend
happened last
is
time.
because you did this and you're repeating it again. You need to overcome fear so that you can be able to track whatever reaction or whatever behavior, because at the end of the day we are working towards one common goal of living in peace. Right? Yeah.
Wow. I think we spent quite a lot on fear.
On fear.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's something
It's a
that's
living
real.
thing.
It's something that's really, affecting a lot of us, and more than even just in communication, right?
Yeah.
So this leads us to the next point around
point.
assumption. I think you've already started talking about assumption.
Assumption.
The fact that we don't want to communicate, or our communication is disturbed by the fact that you assume what the other person is going to say. It's similar to what we just talked about. You assume that this is how they're gonna react. Why should I communicate? And as you said, earlier, people change,
Yeah.
and we should give people the benefit of the doubt to say, this is a new message, I'm gonna say it either way and not assume. Then you can have the actual response to respond to.
Even if the assumption that you had
was right,
then that gives you, like I already mentioned, it gives you something to say. But baby, I tried this the other time, and this happened. But we find ourselves in situations like that in a lot of relationships and in a lot of marriages where they can't really seem to understand what's the problem, simply because they are not sitting down and breaking down the way we're breaking it down now, and the more we are talking about it, even now, I'm realizing that indeed sometimes we assume and then we decide, I'm not gonna make myself go through what I went through last time, because I know that if I'm gonna talk to my husband about this particular situation, he's gonna respond this way. And sometimes we assume wrong.
Again, assumptions are real, and I think they come from the fact that we think we know our people, and sometimes we do know our partners, we know our parents, we know our kids, but because we spend so much time with that person, we tend to believe that we understand, we know them very well, to an extent where we can assume this is what they're going to do, and so what, So I think the important thing is, to relay the message, right?
Assuming is leading us to the next point of saying what hinders communication in a relationship or in marriage is those repeated negative responses. Right.
Repeated negative responses. No matter how many times you have tried it, you seem to be getting the same response, and that can hinder someone from communicating. Hey. Yeah. Do I do this stuff? Sometimes. Do you remember when?
I can't seem to remember now, but I know that sometimes.
So I think I'm trying to explain why I probably did it before. When I don't want to do something, you'll have to talk to me so many times to get me to do it. And sometimes I'm not honest, to say I don't want to do something, and you really want me to do this thing, and sometimes it's not something that you want me to do for you. It's something that's for both of us, right? I'll give an example of let's talk about the color of paint that we need to agree on, or say the couch, the type of couch you should get, right? And I know those are once in a while kind of decisions, but there's other things like where your partner talks to you, they say stop overspending on booze, stop overspending on shoes, stop overspending on going out, and you keep on doing the same thing. It's like you're not taking your partner's commentary seriously, because you keep doing the same thing that they're asking you to stop. It could be that you don't want to, or it could be that you're just ignoring them, you don't take them serious, and that will lead to an unhappy partner for you.
It's important to read your partner's emotions. Here is one thing that I've learned myself. I read my husband's emotions, or how he speaks. Because obviously at first you would speak calmly, right, about something. Everybody will speak calmly about something. First time it happens. Can you stop doing this, right? At whatever level of calmness, right? Some people's calmness is 10, others is 6.
Calmness, if it's relative.
It's relative, right? Whoever might see what I call as calm, as are you saying she's calm? She wasn't calm, and yet according to herself, she was calm, right? So if there's one thing that I've learned is to read my partner's emotion or reaction, how he speaks about that particular thing. That communicates a lot to me that no, there must be something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Then I need to do something about it. It's like a child. When you speak to a child and say, stop doing what you're doing, right? They continue. But when you start changing the tone of your voice, right? You start changing even your face. They run away. They get scared. My son would cry, right? He can see
Stop
that now.
shouting
Yeah,
at me, mommy.
stop shouting at me. Now he can see we're getting serious here, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times in a relationship or in marriage, we tend to overlook the reactions and the emotions. Because most of the time, if the reactions are repeated, right? They're repeated and you keep on doing the same thing, and your partner is shouting at you, and you keep on saying the same thing, and the next time your partner is telling you, I don't like it when you spend a lot of money on bills, right? Like now they're shouting, right? So they've been trying to communicate the whole time. So what helps me, or what assists me most of the time is I calculate the emotion. I calculate the tense, the way you are tense, because obviously at first you wouldn't be like that. And when I see that your face has changed, and when I see the tone has changed, then that means probably he has been communicating this thing for a while, because nobody in their right senses will just wake up and just fume. Even a car, you start it and then it goes, even when you change gears and then it's going up and then picking up. So it's one thing that I know with everyone, right? Unless in situations where you are having your own issues at that particular time, and then you started to storm. No, you started from 10 instead of 0, because you had a bad day, or things were not going well for you. So in a situation like that, whether you are the one who's been blamed or you are the one that's complaining, or whichever way, it's important to read the emotions of your partner in order to curb this whole thing.
It's because it's an issue that's sensitive to the other person. Of course, you are trying to communicate it, but the other person doesn't like it. So it's a sensitive issue. So I think you need to find other ways that you can put that point across. Things like waiting for the right time, when the person is in a good mood and stuff like that, because it's really difficult for me to just suddenly fume while you were laughing, right? It takes a bit of cranking. We're already starting to talk about the next point that we're going to talk about, where you're just hearing things and not listening, right? But just to summarize, just to conclude on this point, when your partner keeps saying something, listen to them. Listen to them. Don't hear. Listen to them. Listening means take what they're saying and interpret it and give them feedback of what they expect, or something similar to what they expect. Show something that or if it's something that you don't want to do communicate that you don't want to do it and why you don't want to do it. Let's start things from there, compared to where we're just assuming that this person doesn't know you don't know what the person is saying. So it's really important to get to the bottom of it, because I can't imagine any relationship where there's no communication, because as I was saying earlier on, if you keep saying something to someone, you keep saying it, you repeat it, and they don't do anything about it, you look crazy. So what the person will do is just keep quiet. And can you imagine a relationship where there's no communication, where you don't communicate? Right. So the next point is around, what we've just started talking about.
Listening.
People don't listen. People hear. There's noise, but we don't listen.
I think with myself, love, most of the time I'll use the word complain. So when he complains, this is how I try work around my listening skills. So I try to take out myself out of the equation. Most of the time, one thing that I see that kills a lot of things is the fact that when somebody comes to complain, right, to you, instead of you listening, you start defending.
You know what? I hear you. And it's not always easy to take yourself out of the situation, right? And try to, observe it, objectively. So, and I think it's because we're emotional beings,
That's
right?
True. Yeah.
So when you're talking about something that hits me hard, I'm not always going to be rational about it, especially if it's something close to my heart or it's a habit that I know is very difficult for me to let go of, right? It's not gonna. I'm not gonna pretend like I can get myself out of the situation and judge. I'm going, and I hear your point, right?
Yeah.
I think it will work for some things, where you can actually think outside of the situation, be able to look at yourself, introspect, right? But sometimes issues differ, and when you say something to me and I try to listen, it hits me hard that I end up just hearing, and even in that hearing, my emotions start to boil. Do you understand? I think it's important for partners to understand that when something hits hard to your other partner, that's where now sudden
responses and reactions.
Sudden reactions come up because you don't realize that the other person is burning inside, and most of the issues you can tell that this person doesn't like this. When someone is defending themselves, why? Try to find out why. Yes, you're putting a message across to say, hey, Ntate, stop. And because that person, it's probably something that they've been trying to, change themselves, and it's difficult for them, or it makes them feel, somehow burned out. It's painful, for them to feel like they can't do anything about it. So it's important to read that. Very, very important to read that when it comes to your partner. Yeah.
But I'm saying, that person is not crazy to say to me, I was hurt.
The way indeed hurts.
The way indeed hurt. You understand? And I might have done whatever that I might have done unaware that I'm hurting them. But I have an obligation to correct that, to say, but I was not coming from that angle. And when that message is being conveyed to me, I'm not supposed to be defensive. It's like I have told myself, this is not the time to be defensive. You did not come before the court. She came. You understand? At that particular time, I'm the judge, right? And at the same time, she's reporting mercy to mercy. You understand? That mercy, as part of the whole play, did this, and she's reporting mercy to mercy. So I'm playing two roles at the same time. So at that time, I remove myself from the whole play, and I watch as the judge now to say, but then you're not crazy to come and say to me, I hurt you. I might have really hurt you. Now I look at the situation and then I say, no, I am sorry, but I was coming from this angle. You understand? But then I have to listen first. I have to look for the reason why I have to say I'm sorry. Even if it's the little tiniest thing, as long as it qualifies me to say I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. You understand? And at that particular time, my reasons carry more weight than hers. But the fact that there's that little tiny thing that obligates me to say I'm sorry, I'm definitely going to say I'm sorry, and I'm going to take it all on me to say, okay, fine, I understand why you cried, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, you have a good heart. You have a good heart.
So that's how I do my listening, not my hearing. Because the moment you start saying to that person, start being defensive, then you're not hearing the whole point. It's not about you at that time. It's about the person that brought the issue. Even if you had a point, but I'm gonna look for the little tiniest reason why I should say I'm sorry. Then I say it, so that the whole issue can be settled. Then I can have my other time. But I said this because of 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Then I want both of us to leave the whole scenario fulfilled, because I don't want her to going home thinking, of course, Messi said I'm sorry, and Messi saw that she was wrong. Because at the end of the day, on my end, I felt I was not wrong, right? But I understand why you were hurt. I understand why you were crying. But do you understand why I was saying this? Yeah.
One of the things that disturbs good communication is communicating at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Not within season of frequency. So we need to understand that messages are different.
Yeah.
And how people might receive messages differs.
Yeah.
Right, depending on how they feel, what they've been through, what is going on at that time, so we need to tailor make our messages for that particular person regarding to how they feel at that time. So if I've had a bad day, be careful of, you remember the point that we said, repeating the messages. Be careful, and I've been defending myself. Be careful of those messages. If the Section 25 letters coming out at work, where there's a fear that I might lose my job. You can talk about us going for a holiday at that time, So we need to pick the right times to talk about things. So that
wrong timing.
So that the messages can land properly. Yeah,
that's true. I've seen in the past where we had some gatherings, maybe komanyalong, kanakolesong, kanakokai, and you will see. I've seen a couple of them elders, and they want to speak to their spouses, right? And then they'll just you just speak the way they want in front of a lot of people, And at that time, the whole communication sounds disrespectful. And the other
even though it might be true.
Yeah. But then that person expressed themselves in front of people. You understand?
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. Maybe they had communicated to their spouse when it was repeatedly, only the two of them. And that particular time, he's thinking, hey, but what did I do say? And then they just say it in front of people, and then some of us who are listening and watching, and we're thinking, okay, what's going on? And it becomes an embarrassment to the other. Well, the one who's conveying the message probably is not even feeling any embarrassment. She or he is probably feeling, let me say it here in front of people, because when I say it at home, they will help me. Maybe he will
or this person will do something because I said it here.
He will do something because I said it in front of people. And sometimes it makes the people mad even worse. Like, he's not going to even respond or do anything.
You won't be forgiven for that.
You won't be forgiven for that. So it's important to watch those things. But baby, there's some people that can hear via that route.
Yeah.
It's like you need to call people first, then they can hear.
Someone will be saying to you, I said I'm not getting married anymore. It's like, you be quiet. But hold on, I don't want to get married anymore. I've changed my mind. It's like, hey, you be quiet. Okay, honey. I think so. Those are the some of the things that really disturb communication. Good communication to flow between relationships. Yeah. So guys, be careful of those and try to find solutions in every situation that you are in. When someone is communicating, there is also non-verbal cues. Also read the body language, because more often it shows how the person really feels. The reactions on the faces. I've got thousands and thousands of reactions on my face, like you've seen them.
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah. So when I'm excited, when I'm not excited, without me saying a word. So guys, just try to listen to your gut feeling. Is this the right time? Am I saying this thing at the right time? Also, has this message been said to me many times? Am I really being fair to my partner? Should I be doing something? Am I being selfish? Because sometimes, something is repeated to you, someone is being selfish. Or sometimes, you don't want to do what they are doing because of your own pride. You don't want to bend what they are requesting, even though it might benefit both of you, but because of you have this pride, you are not bending towards them. So guys, be careful of these
factors.
So thank you so much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. Share selflessly, because you are champions. Thank you. See you soon.